Hello everybody! Hello everybody, I hope this is working. Should be working, I guess. Some good old Unreal Tournament 99 music in the background. My name's Vesper, for some purposes of course. And this is the one and only Catalyst versus Syndicate. Or should I say the Catalyst versus the Syndicate. Very small but still fun, I hope, event. What is the whole idea here? Well, you may know, you may remember that I like to basically play with formats. And I like to put some challenges in front of players of different levels, just to say, hey folks, how about we play some Netrunner in a slightly different way? And how about we see if there's more to be discovered in the card pool and the way we ban things and so on and so forth. And you may remember that I do things like, well, what's his name? Lockdown, which is going to happen tomorrow, and I'm going to be reminding you about Lockdown later on after the game happens today. But what about this event? Well, what happened is basically me saying, hey, there's a supported format that's called Startup. But actually, no, first of all, it started for Standard. I was like, okay, let's do Standard, but with a weird rule. You can only play the Catalyst as the runner, you can only play the Syndicate as the corp, and you can put whatever card you want, no influence limits. However, you have to stick to one corporation's agendas. That's basically it. So you can do one color of agendas, plus neutral agendas, of course, and then whatever cards you want within reasonable limits for gameplay. So, of course, 3 cards per card name, so to speak, unless the card itself states differently. So 3 copies per each card, playable card, unless you play 6 off or 1 off, depending on what the card says. That didn't really work well, I would say. Not in testing, because I didn't test it, but it didn't work well when it came to getting people to play it, because it was a bit overwhelming. That was the feedback I got from the people who signed up. We did have 2 people ready to play, but I was like, 2 people, maybe let's give people another chance. So there was a bit of thinking, and I decided to go with Startup. I decided to cut the format down to Startup, which introduces a slightly smaller card pool, of course. So there you only have System Gateway, System Update 2021, and the Ashes Cycle, which of course is Downfall and Uprising. So basically all the Nisei cards. And I may have chosen the date incorrectly for this event, unfortunately, but I still managed to get 2 lovely participants today. So huge thanks to Kibosh and the one also known as Neo, who are going to duke it out today in a match. This match is actually password protected, so I feel super special for giving in, and I hope to get a chance to introduce them or invite them later on into the chat. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to sail into the screen, into the game, and we'll see if it's going to work out. Remember, the deck building rules are pretty simple. You play the Syndicate, you play the Catalyst as the runner, and this is going to be a match, so we're going to be on 2 sides of the table here. I believe I could be just starting those folks up in a second. So we're going all gray today because why not? I mean, it's all neutrals, right? So both decks illegal to the gills, I would say. And this is going to be quite interesting. Good luck to both players. They're my test subjects because I really want to see if that works. And they're both saying that building a deck in this format is possible. So we are here. They, of course, can take a regular mulligan, look at their cards and whatnot. We have a 30-card Catalyst, and we have a 39-card Syndicate. The fun thing is, neither of these IDs has any special ability available for the power-ups. So it doesn't really offer, neither of these IDs offers any special incentive to play in a particular way, which means with the unlimited influence that you have, you might as well just say, hey, I'm gonna play the most powerful cards I can. And I'm really curious to see what those players brewed today for this format. We have red level clearance, so an HB card, of course, and the one going for drawing cards and installing a card, which is a non-agenda, of course, ice here, so click compression to the max. On the other side, Kibosh starts the turn with a strong opening, money, more money, additional money, and even more money. So we'll see if this is going to be... I have no idea, honestly, what decks these are. Players are just invited to brew their decks any way they want. And we'll see. If there's something illegal about those decks, well, we'll see it on the stream, but no worries. This is really a test. It's... Imagine you're in a laboratory watching two benevolent AIs duke it out using Netrunner. So Kibosh and the one also known as Neo today duking it out for science. We're doing this for science. Curious to see if there's going to be a fast advance. Curious to see if there's going to be some aggression. We have a Bravado going for server 1 because, yeah, 39 cards. There's a certain number of agenda points you're going to be using in this deck, which is lower than the regulatory, I would say, or the regulation, 20 points, of course. And here we have Ansel, a strong opening for 6 credits. This Ansel is evil to break. Huh. You could click through it. I mean, you might as well click through it, at least from the first subroutine. It's a very good sentry. I was actually showing it earlier today to friends of mine as an example of how the community right now is affecting the game by co-designing the cards at a certain level of gameplay, competitive gameplay. Because we were talking about, narrative gameplay and the narrative throughout the years of a particular game, which was not Netrunner. And I wanted to show this card with Patrick Gower here being portrayed as a very nice person with 2 huge blades for his hands. Nothing like a Baroid. Nico campaign, so it's a ruse. The Nico campaign, of course, kicking off here with some fashionable Bioroids androgynously strutting the wares. I'm actually curious about, the lore behind this card. So is Haas just producing the Bioroids as the models, or is actually Haas involved, are the corp forces of Haas involved in fashion design? That's something for the writers at Nisei, I guess, for the creative team. Oh, we have a self-modifying code hitting the table, running for HQ, enough money in Kibosh's bank to fuel probably breaking anything that the one can res, unless it's an Afshar. You cannot break the Afshar completely. It's a really cool small addition here. Sweet little ice. It doesn't really stop you from entering, but it does tax you out. And I think taxing is the idea here from the ice we've seen so far. I mean, ice always should, of course, be taxing. But there seems to be... I would guess server 1 has Managarm, because this is startup, so Managarm is one of the best cards you can actually have for protecting your remotes. The other one being Anoetic Void, not much else in the pool for this. And by the way, chat, hello chat, if anybody's in the chat, hello, hello, hello. Oh, Simply Down, in time to see if there was anything broken in startup that I missed. I kind of skipped that one comment, but yeah, I don't know. That's why I tried to poke people into creative thinking about deck building. But hey, there we go. That's an agenda. That's 2 points. And the thing is, we're still playing to 20. Sorry, not to 20. We're still playing to 7, of course. So the corp, even though there is a lower number of agenda points in this deck, you can still get to 7 on both sides. There's a Spin Doctor. 23 cards left in R&D. Hello there, Tokai. Should I say Tokai's? Tokai's AX? I don't know. Well, hello there. Good to have you on the stream, folks. Looking forward to spicy comments about things happening on the screen and whatnot. And I really do hope that I get to poke more people to join this idea for the next event. I will keep on pushing for people to play. It is a bit of a intimidating thing, but I like to think of it as a gateway, a gateway to Eternal, and with the rumors of Eternal getting a bit of a facelift and a bit of remodeling, courtesy of Nisei's, testing team, basically, because they've been testing different things. I mean, a lot of people at Nisei are doing a lot of different things, so I shouldn't be saying that this is the work of a single team. But basically, the folks at Nisei have been talking about making Eternal a bit more fun, maybe, or just different, or accessible, that being the key word. And I think this proposition of startup, kind of like Eternal, but almost not really, because you kind of actually can go wild with the deck building. Might be a bit too intimidating for some, but for people who just have the entry set, the startup format, in physical format as well, this could be a really cool deck building exercise as well. So if you happen to have all the startup cards, which is Gateway, System Update 21, and Ashes, being Uprising and Downfall, or actually Downfall and Uprising, the other way around, of course, chronologically, this could be quite fun for you to play with. Server 1 getting more things, I guess the one going, hey, I should be scoring some agendas. The Spin Doctor, of course, safe. And the Archives, mostly money. And a face-down card, so that Spin Doctor could be used soon. In the meantime, well, Kibosh also moneyed up. Nice credit total on both sides. And ready to roll against Codegate. So that Afshar is not going to be doing much. It is a tax of 3 credits, which is decent for a piece of ice that costs you 3 credits to res. But it's not something that would keep you out forever. Or at all, to be honest. Wondering if the one is going to go for additional defenses, or if this is just going to be a case of rushing things out in server 1, knowing that... oh, there's a second SMC. Never mind. And Kibosh is going for it, running with that bravado. Into that room. Ooh, this is some serious businesses. We have Sentry and Barrier, so 2 clicks left. I think this was a very good install res pattern here by the one, because we have both types of ice that Kibosh cannot deal with right now. That self-modifying code can only tutor so much. There are some pieces of ice-breaking technology that you could put onto the table that would allow you to... Well, no, actually, Barrier, Sentry, there's no such combo. But you could do Barrier Codegate, right? If I remember correctly. Well, anyway. Let's see if Neo goes for a score here. By the way, this agenda being neutral, Cyberdeck Sandbox, still doesn't tell us if Neo decided to go for a particular corpse color. Here we go. So there's going to be NBN cards in the game. Tomorrow's headline, brutal. That's a tag. But fortunately for Kibosh, the headline only fires the tag up after the score, which means the turn is over and the corp is not able to capitalize on that tag. So Kibosh has 20 credits, enough clicks to get that tag off. Running HQ just because he can. Why wouldn't you? Pressure, pressure, pressure. Trying to fish things out. Paying the 2 credit extra tag. Oh, that's a snare. That's gonna be paid. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be paid. Overclock, Corroder, Overclock. Okay, well, that's some sweet econ and a barrier breaker. Ouch. I hope that Kibosh has backups for it or a simul chip somewhere. And yeah, basically this, let's call it format in quotation marks, is kind of a hybrid between what you get in the Gateway experience with the booster decks, where you know, get extra cards and you kind of play a full game of Netrunner with preset decks, and just saying, hey, add some cards, have fun with it, you know, just there's a handful of additional rules to make it tick in a way, just to see if it's not going to be broken as a format. And so far, yeah, so far it seems to be working. I didn't get any complaints from any of my test subjects. Ooh, Kibosh stayed on a tag. This is dangerous. I don't know if Neo was thinking of putting any additional punishment for floating tags, but Kibosh is definitely trying to say, hey, I can see if you know, if you're gonna go for it or not. Maybe that one tag is not doing much, but okay, let's just make sure you don't have any tags. The corp on 5 credits does give the runner enough time to just draw up and basically stabilize after this unfortunate snare access. Okay, Light River Clearance, into the game again. Very good value card. For 1 credit, you get to basically draw 2 cards or gain 1 credit as an extra, or install a card, or gain a click. So it's a bit of a combo card that allows you to choose the right option at the right time. for you, which is, in a way, a specialty of HB. Simply the Onion in the chat saying, Neo is on a tag deck. Interesting, would have thought that there wouldn't be enough punishment in startup to make it worth it. Yeah, I guess this snare is just as a potential kill. Oh, we have a Harmony AR therapy. I think that Corroder might be coming back. Well, we'll see. I mean, there's a bunch of different targets you can, of course, consider for this card. Yeah, we have Bravado, Corroder, Daily Cast, Sylvan Fanco, and Sure Gamble going back. Very good picks. Nice recycling powers. And yeah, with a smaller deck, you can use Harmony AR therapies at will just to streamline and pick and choose and recover the things you lost or you want to just reuse again. Yeah, I don't know if this is tag. I mean, it does look like there are tags involved. There's tomorrow's headline, of course. There's snare, so there are some tags at play, but I don't know if there's gonna be any extra tags. Getting a jailbreak into R&D, another Bran. Neo going in for like the big boys here, or the big pieces of ice here. This is another serious business ice, of course. Galen Dara delivering amazing art here. 2 cards being accessed, and that's a Bellona. Okay, that's a biggie. And now Kibosh struggling with the money, but definitely up on points. 5 points, that's basically match point for Kibosh for the runner side here. The one slightly higher on the money totals, and that Nico is gonna help with this as well, but you need to get the points to win, or you need to do something with that pesky runner. I wonder if there's gonna be some punishment in here. Very, very interesting option. Maybe there's actually an Amaze in the remote. Yeah, an Amaze amusement card would be quite interesting. I should be bringing it up on the screen, right? That's the panel I'm working on for some other things, you know, just floating cards onto the screen. I'll have it ready for the next tournament. Well, maybe not tomorrow, but it shall happen. Another spin doctor. So we're just spinning the doctors to shuffle things back in. A snare and one unseen card. Yeah, just trying to see how much card recovery does the Catalyst pack in this deck. And the Spin Doctor, of course, a brilliant card. Always helping you draw more, bring things back. And this time it's actually fairly fair. Very good design, folks. All you had to do is just take a very powerful iconic card and just make it decent and good and just and fair. And you did it, so that's good. I really like seeing Spin Doctor in the game, even if I'm playing as a runner, because it's just fair. Whereas Jackson Howard was always like, geez, what's gonna happen now? No, this is the end. Although everybody loves Jackson Howard for his beautiful smiley face and evil disposition. Server 1 getting another card, and the Nico campaign trashed before its time. So is Neo trying to use that scoring window with Kibosh only on 1 credit? There will be, of course, 3 credits going into Kibosh's bank. Start of next runner turn, but that might not be enough. Let's see, Kibosh on 4 credits, 2 breakers on the table. Thing is that Ansel is not gonna like you if you don't have a sentry breaker, if you don't have a killer on the table. Who knows? Here we go, Bravado into HQ, trying to get the money up. And that's a very cool play because, of course, you have to pay 1 credit, which is all that you have to break the end run. Then you get into the HQ server, the central server, you access a card, you get the money from Bravado, which is very important for you because you're going to have a 0. Oh, we have an undo click. Okay, they are both, by the way, on audio comms, of course, so some things might be happening here that we are not aware of, but yeah, here we go. Oh yeah, there was 2 draws just in case there's a snare, of course, because Neo's sitting on just enough credits to kill you if you run into a snare. Not good. Not healthy, those snares. Not healthy. And is it a snare? That's a Hagen. And that's not a win, of course, because Hagen is just a... or Hagen. I like to call it Hagen-Dazs, but then again, it's probably registered, trademark, whatever, lawyers looking at me in weird ways, so let's not call it Hagen-Dazs. By the way, folks, anybody playing in the lockdown tomorrow? Lockdown 15, I cannot really imagine that. I never thought that I would be going up to, 15 editions of an event made for fun in the depressing times of the early pandemic. But there we are. I'm going to be talking about it tomorrow, of course. Simply the Unknown is going to be there for lockdown. Thank you so much. I do appreciate, and I hope to make it loads of fun. For those of you just tuning in, this is an experiment. I was hoping for more people, but it's a beautiful June weekend, I guess, in a lot of places. So the Catalyst versus Syndicate, in its first actual iteration that is happening in the startup format, has two brave test subjects. Kibosh currently playing as the Catalyst, and the one also known as Neo on the Syndicate side. It's an evened out game. We now just had Neo scoring out that CyberX sandbox to get some money back in the bank and also go up on the points. Kibosh had a lot of credits before, now it's looking a bit worse, but then there's a conduit on the table, and that Bran, well, not cheap to break through for sure, but who knows what's gonna happen next. I would assume there's gonna be a lot of R&D digging. The Onion saying, really interested on what we'll see on the Corp side. I've seen two different ways to go about Corp in lockdown so far. Neither were what people would call a fair strategy in lockdown. Hey there, Jessica! Welcome to the stream. It's been a while. It's been a while for sure. I hope you're doing fine. It's been a while, I'm kind of out of Netrunner now, but still out in the community. Oh, well, I mean, fair enough. You know, it's a game you can totally slide in and out of, or out and into, as we have witnessed with people coming back to the game after years, I would say, in some cases. So yeah, great to have you on the chat, because maybe you're out of Netrunner for now, so maybe you forgot all the cards, never mind. But you've always been, how would I say it? A walking encyclopedia of cards for me, in a way. Although, well, I don't know if this is a title that befits you well, but anyway. Anytime you were on the chat, I had no problem with just saying, I have no idea what this card does, and then you just quoting it in the chat and walking us through it. So we have a Purge, and the one, also known as Neo, getting the CyberX sandbox to work. Purge some Orcas in mediums. So moneying up, probably setting up for the winning agenda. We have only 12 cards left in R&D, 11 cards in the stack. We've only seen so far one Harmony and one Spin Doctor being used, so those cards definitely helping beef those decks back up again. A jailbreak, and now the question is, where does the jailbreak go? Would you hit HQ, or would you try and go for another conduit dig? I guess it's just cheaper to go for HQ, and the agendas have to pile up somewhere. Yeah, here we go. That wasn't me deciding for Kibosh. That was just me trying to read the table and pretend I know what would happen. But I would go for HQ just to see if maybe there's an agenda. 2 points is all you need here on the runner side. 3 points needed on the corp side, which might be a bit of a tall order. We'll see. We have so far 9 points on the table. Scape Net. Ooh, talk about spicy. That's a cool card. Wasn't expecting this. I mean, this is the beauty of the format, right? You can just build stuff. The format. I'm calling it a format. This is like the first time anybody's playing this on stream. But I really hope to get people into the Catalyst versus the Syndicate startup. No holds barred, go wild, create decks. Just don't forget to not mix too many different corporate agendas in one deck. But that's a very interesting include. Yeah, the Scape Net is there to, well, remove one installed chip or virtual card from the game. Wait a minute. Isn't Hoshiko Shiro virtual if she flips? No, she's digital, sorry. If it said digital, okay, I remove your ID from the game. Good luck, you have no powers. Anyway. Virtual, digital, same, right? Simply on in the chat, pointing at the possibility of Neo trying to play a rig shooter type of game. Yeah, probably. Probably there's... This could be getting the simul chips. This could be getting... I don't know what other cool things are there. I mean, there's quite a bunch of virtual cards in Startup, so that's not a bad include. Although I personally would probably focus on viruses because there's a bunch of viral effects. I mean, Conduit being the prime example here. And of course, we have the agenda that takes care of viruses in a way. So, yeah. I'm not saying that virtual is not scary, but I would just say that viruses are scarier. Server 1 gets an advance, and I wonder if this is another Cyberdex, or is this an actual Bologna and there's a seamless launch waiting in the wings. We haven't seen it in the accesses, I think. I'm not gonna scroll the oh, maybe I should. I don't think we've seen any seamless. I don't think we have. Seamless launches, so seamless launch is a possibility here. I mean, you know, all the nastiness of HBIs powered with cool operations, and then all the oppressiveness in a way of Bologna, and all the surprise of tomorrow's headline. Yeah, I like it. I will be trying to get both players later on to join me on audio, just to talk a bit about, you know, what they think about the format. What were the deck building choices? Do they have any other ideas in mind if that event comes back? And I will be really pushing hard for this event to be a bit more popular, but only, of course, if people are going to play it. So I'll be organizing, I guess, once a month, some sort of an online thing for people to get into. Nothing serious, like 3-4 rounds of Swiss. Basically, that's it, depending on the attendance and everything, and then we'll see. Maybe, and I just have to talk to the powers that be, maybe I'll be able to provide some cool price support around the Syndicate and the Catalyst. I don't know. I mean, this is all about carefully thinking about making things happen here. Here we go. You wanted money, you have money. Overclocking into that remote. This is big because you can click through the Ansel, or just the relevant Ansel subroutines. Let's see if this is game. Server 1 could be a ruse, right? But I guess this is actually it. Or is it a Managarm? Jeez, I wish this was Managarm. Well, let's see what's going to be there. I assume we're going to be seeing... Oh no, this is... Yeah, that's a Managarm Skunkworks. Yay, the card to save you. So you have to pay 5 credits, which you still have. And then if this is a Bologna, it's a Belnona. You cannot steal that. I wonder if Neo has this thing, has the game here right now with the combo of Managarm making you pay, making it impossible to steal Bologna. Okay, Kibosh refuses to pay the creds. Well, let's see what's in that server. Yeah, that's a seamless, and that's 2. Yeah, that was the play I was thinking about. That's gonna be Bologna. Oh wow, that's double seamless for the win, and that's a Bologna. Well played. Exciting. Very close call. Yeah, that Managarm was the game. So hey, this looked like a fair balanced game that was fun, right? Let's take a look at the remake of this. Netpunning would like to know your location. I mean, you know, if there were shares for channels on Discord, I would probably have like near to the controlling share of Netpunning, just because of my terrible, well, I would say love for puns that are bad. So let's see Okay, I have to put in the password, which is super secret. But yeah, net punning is the prime place to go on GLC. Just saying, you know, if you're on green level clearance, you should totally go to net punning. And if you're not on green level clearance, what are you even doing? Oh, casual Leo! Whoa ho ho! Has Neo chosen the right deck? Yeah, probably. So again, if you just joined us, this is the Catalyst versus the Syndicate, or the Syndicate versus the Catalyst, with the only rules being no influence limits. You can play fewer than 20 agenda points with, of course, the rules being properly tweaked and the number of points being properly tweaked. And as the corp, you can only choose agendas that are neutral and from one corp color. You cannot just have a super colorful agenda suite. You have to be a bit more streamlined. Which still, I guess, opens, you know, a lot of questions for a runner before they see the first agenda, actually. Because agendas do give you powers, and these IDs don't. Agendas do give you a bit of a kick. That's a quick start here. Money, money, and more money. Kibosh just going in for the money. Is this some sort of a kill deck, which is all about get in and eat all the snares? There's only one way to learn. Here we go. That's a jailbreak into R&D. Drawing into an extra card because it fired, and then the Spin Doctor getting trashed. Sad Doctor. And Remastered Edition, so both players decided to go for NBN. Okay, this looks like an invitation for a Rush deck, with Remastered Editions definitely helping. Oh, this is gonna be... This is rough. Oh my! Oh jeez! This is gonna be probably the shortest game... Oof. No, I'm kidding, of course. I mean, yeah. If you've played Netrunner long enough, you've had games like this. This is basically the corp saying, what just happened? This is rude. Punitive. Where's the punitive? Punitive. Punitive. No, we're not getting a punitive. I mean, honestly, with 2-pointer agendas, I wouldn't be putting a punitive in there. I would just go for 3-pointers and punitives, maybe. But Kibosh is sitting on so much money now. What's gonna happen with all that money? But also, oh, cookbook. Oh, this is gonna be a viral deck. I'm already looking. Oh yeah, here we go. This is a fermenter. Very interesting to have this on the table because you will need money. But then again, Neo survived last corpse turn, so you know that was a close call. Now you only need to score. You need to fish one agenda point. Okay, saying. At least the corp won't be agenda flooded now. Yep. You're probably just like, okay, there go my agendas. I actually haven't counted the cards, sorry, but it looks like a 30 card deck. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry, I should be counting quietly here. $31 cards in that deck, unless I'm mistaken. And my miscounting, of course. Well, never mind. Don't worry about my counting. It's a Saturday after all. I shouldn't be counting on a Saturday. So Neo with the cookbook and the fermenter looks like a virus build. And a prepaid voice pad and a dirty laundry going where? A remote to trash one of the goodies? Oh, that's a Maryland campaign. That Maryland campaign is probably going to go down. Or maybe not, because Neo probably just wants to save the money and money up. Yeah. 6 points. On the runner side, unfortunate for the corp. Honestly, let's be clear here. This was just Neo hitting all the agendas within the space of one turn. You can still recover from this, and we've seen games throughout time where the corp was down by 6 and still winning 7-6. But it's not an easy task. So let's hope that Kibosh gets a chance to make it exciting, because now any steal that has a point on it is basically game. You could of course steal some 0-pointer agendas, but there's none of such shenanigans in Startup. And this is the phone we're playing. DZMZ Optimizer hitting the table. Let's optimize some of that installing. Okay, we're going in for a longer haul here. Kibosh looking for all the other agendas that Neo did not find. But that's really a big oof, losing 6 points in one turn. I had a very rough game that I fortunately managed to win in startup recently, where I just got so flooded. I think I drew 6 or 7 agendas in my first 3 or 4 turns. And just bluffed the hell out of this. And if I was playing that in a live event, you know, with my opponent sitting across the table and seeing my face, he would have known, or she, or, you know, they would have known straight away, like, what's going on? Like, this dude is just drawing into all his agendas. Well, let's run HQ. But the beauty of JNet is you can just swear loudly and, you know, like, just go like, in the comfort of your room if you don't have the audio on with your opponent. Which is what I did a bit, because I was like, no way. Now I'm just ready to table flip, but to be honest, no. You never give up. You should always try and make it at least fun. The biggest victory in a game is just having fun, I guess. Points don't matter. Anikam. Okay, what's the story here? So we have prepaid voice pad, we have Anikam, so this is a event-heavy deck, I guess, especially since we also have Mystic Mamie. I mean, but how are you going to eventfully use things? Is this about just... I don't know. Inside jobbing into all the remotes with one ice on them? Or... I'm curious, I mean... Really curious to have both players come in later if they can, or even one of them if that's not possible to have both of them. Just to have a bit of a chat about their decks and to see how... What drove their thinking about, you know, the format or the card pool into putting these cards together. Okay, we have all the good stuff here. Book Halter, Golden Blade. I mean, why not, right? There is no point in not including these cards, since you don't have to worry about influence. Okay, we're going wide here, up to server 4 now. Kibosh confidently up on credits, but those credits... They will have to start turning into something soon, like into points, because, well, basically Neo will be able to contest any server in a minute or two. Just getting that barrier breaker is gonna seal the deal, I guess, unless Kibosh has some way out of this. Or just builds a server 1 that's sky high and impenetrable, which might be a bit intimidating in the format. Bravadoing here into HQ, meeting an Afshar, that's gonna be a bit of a tax. So 3 credits, either way, which you will get back from the Bravado. And that Bravado was actually played very cheap. Very cheaply, I should say. Getting into a toll booth, not a bad piece of ice to res. One thing I also have to say, and probably the players are going to bring it up if we chat later, it is very hard to test for this format, you know? It's kind of hard to get people to play against you, unless they're also competing in this tournament, in this event. Maryland campaign getting trashed, I guess? Or staying? No, that's not a trash, just extra draw. But it's really kind of hard to test for this particular type of event, because it's a non-format. This is a very experimental thing, and I guess there's a way to solve it, but I would hope that there are actually several different approaches, which is what I'll try to root for. Another Bravado on the cheap as well, or cheaper, thanks to the prepaid voice pad. Going in, oh yeah, of course, Gold Farmer, the startup ice that refuses to give up, and this is sweet. This is a very cheap res that will cost the runner if they want to get in. But no, Neo saying, no, you just fire the subroutines. I don't care. I don't want to get in until I have my barrier breaker, my fractor. Which is still not on the table. Okay, the Spin Doctor. Shuffling a Spin Doctor and a Hedge Fund. So still a lot of money back in it. Would you shuffle a Hedge Fund or would you shuffle a government subsidy in? I guess it all depends. Maybe Kibosh is just saying, hey, if I go way down on the credits because I'm going to be raising a lot of defensive ice on server 1 or R&D again, being at 5 is more likely than being at 10, so the Hedge Fund is a bit safer. And I will be able to recover with 5 credits rather than, you know, dangle on the precipice of disaster with below 10. Okay, here we go. This is a play, and I would assume it could be a non-advance. I don't know, Kibosh probably wondering if he can keep Neo out, and Neo wondering if 20 credits is enough. Okay. Oh, Kibosh undoing the click and maybe going for an advance, I guess. Or installing an extra piece of ice. No, going for the same thing, yeah. Okay, so let's see if Neo has what it takes. I would assume there's gonna be an inside job in there for some reasons. Then again, let's take a look at the heap. We haven't seen a lot of action here, but there's a similar chip, of course. Well, why wouldn't you? The bravados are definitely good value, and dirty laundries as well. Creative Commission, which is basically, if you have Mystic Mamie, 0 for 5. There we go, that's an inside job. Called it. Here we go, so whatever Kibosh reses first, which is a drafter. Cool, fair enough. Now the question is, Gold Farmer, that's enough. I mean, no, sorry, the Corp res this, but the runner can still pay through it. This is the tricky part of Gold Farmer. That's the thing, because 6 credits, yeah, that's it. 6 credits and you're through. I guess there will be game unless there's a toll booth. That's breakable for sure with the Mighty Gordon Blade. And that could be win. That's a remastered. Yeah, I mean, really, really rough for Kibosh to... Yeah, this was just basically very, very unlucky for the Corp. And here we have Neo getting those points, fishing them all out. Very, very hard to you know, sneak out a point if you have the runner on a lot of money. Even missing that fractor, you could be able to maybe stop them, but, well, that would probably require a slightly different ice here rather than the Gold Farmer, which you can pay through. Okay, well, I'm just going to check in on Discord if we're going to be meeting in the lobby. I'm going to be jumping into the lobby and seeing if they want to join me in the lobby. And this marks, yeah, I don't know if we're going to be pulling up their decks, maybe. We'll see, we'll see. This marks the first experimental, very limited, very fast, but I hope fun, dip into the startup version of the Catalyst versus the Syndicate. Trying to see if I will be joined by them. I mean, of course, this is a... Oh, yeah, shoot. Kibosh, you're here. Okay, Neo, you're here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yeah.
Okay, I can hear you as well. I believe. Wait a second. I have to, of course, move some knobs around because this is all about moving knobs around. My life is basically knobs. I mean, no, that sounds funny. Never mind. I didn't say that. So, okay.
No comments.
Yeah, no comments. Yeah, my lawyers will take care of it. I'm just gonna say one thing first. Thank you so much for playing today. Even though I was kind of like, okay, maybe there's gonna be like 6, 8, 10 people trying to do this. Only the two of you managed to survive the elimination process. No, I'm kidding. There was no elimination, but it's like it's June, it's summer. People can actually go out in many places after the whole terrible pandemic year. So I wasn't really counting on a lot of participation. But you both showed up. Thank you so much for this, and you brought decks. You put them onto the test and whatnot. We saw what happened and whatnot, and it was interesting. I'm going to be just now letting you speak more and more than myself because I love to blabber a lot. But I will just start with asking you, what do you think about this being limited to startup, and what do you think of this as a potential format? Does it actually make sense, or is it actually something you think could be solved within, I don't know, like 20 games and tweaking the different decks? I don't know. Any of you who wants to start, or it could be a dialogue, go for it.
Go ahead, Neil.
Oh, okay. I think it's a bit daunting to build something in this format. I do think the choice for just startup makes sense because it's less daunting.
Mm-hmm.
It's still not easy to think of some deck, because if you have all the options, well, almost all the options, in Corp you have to choose which agendas you're going to be using. But other than that, you have, well, virtually no limitations. But having that many choices makes it harder, actually. I think people have no clue what to expect against them, and maybe that's scary. Because you can't really prepare. Oh, this is gonna be the meta.
Yeah.
You have no clue.
Yeah.
Don't know what you think, Kibosh?
Yeah, well, I'm a huge fan of startup anyways. I'm relatively new to Netrunner in general, so startup is about as big of a pool as I can keep in my brain, and even then it's a little tough, but I definitely do like it's almost like a surprise factor. You have really no idea what the other person's going to be playing in this format, which definitely makes it interesting. At the same time, I also found deck building a little hard because I didn't really know what to do, what direction to go. I didn't even know if I should stick to the 30 minimum, or should I go like a 40 or 45 card deck and try to actually build something that works together, or do I just put, just cram good stuff into 30 cards? It was kind of
that's
a tough choice. Yeah. So
for my your runner was low on cards, I think. What was it, 30?
Yeah, my runner, I stuck with just 30 cards.
30 cards, and I went for 45, thinking there's going to be some Jinteki around. See, that's different expectation, different building.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw as soon as I lost my one breaker, I had to shuffle it back in and blow an SMC just to get it back out. So
yeah. So that was my fear as well, sort of. So I went for what is it? All events econ. Well, mostly events econ, and getting extra cards with what is it called? I forgot the name of my
Anacam? The console?
Anacam, yes.
Yeah, that was your drawing.
That's the approach I took for the runner, but also that way I had the guts to go 45 cards and find stuff harder, I guess.
Yeah, the first dice I threw over R&D was a Sice and 10, and I was going to call event and hope to just wreck you right away, but you never ran into that until...
Rude. That never happens in this game, where runners just don't do what you expect as the corp, right? It's just terrible. Okay. But, okay, so, I mean, you said something that I find very interesting, and one of the reasons why I thought this would maybe stir some interest up is the you have no idea what to expect factor, which I think in a world where, when people play standard, for example, or when you play startup, like what you said earlier, Kibosh, as well, it's a certain card pool, you know what's there, and you still have, of course, a lot of different options, choices, play styles, and whatnot, but it's kind of known, whereas here it's like, okay, you will know the cards, but they might be put together in interesting and spicy combinations. Then again, what would you say the lack of an ID ability does. Does it actually, did it influence your thinking about the game? Was it like, okay, I'm not playing against, I don't know, Zahia, or I'm not playing against Loop, or I'm not playing against Near Earth Hub or something, and that this does this actually change the game a lot, or is it more like, no, I just have to put the right agendas in there and just go?
Yeah, I think it changes the focus more to the cards than the ID. Like, you have to sort of figure out what they're trying to do, not from their ID, but from what they put on the table. So you don't really have a clear picture at the beginning what their plan's going to be, which I think is also interesting. You sort of like, as soon as I saw 2 virus programs coming down from Neo, I was like, okay, what is this deck doing? What's he going to try to do with this?
Yes.
So
in this case, I only made money with it, but there are botulas in it, for instance.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a weird game, stealing the 6 points in the first turn.
Yeah, six off the top R&D.
Sheer luck.
I would say no. Of course it's skill, but I mean this is the thing. You can potentially make a bigger deck here and just try to hide the agendas in it as well, because it is totally possible. But then again, what you said earlier, Kabosh, about how do you approach it? Like, do you go lean and mean and fast, and you just try to score out the few agendas you have in a smaller corp deck and just go fast? Or is it like, is it more about drowning those agendas, fewer agendas in a big sea of cards, and then hoping that your engine, whatever it is gonna fire up and whatnot? And I really hope that there's, both of you said that it's a bit intimidating to build, and startup was probably the better choice, which I did notice having talked to also people who were trying to join the standard idea for this. So basically same rules but in a standard card pool. And some people I approached is like, hey, I'm doing this, would you be interested? They were like, standard, that's like basically almost playing Eternal but wilder, because I mean, not Eternal, but like, you know what I mean, it is bigger and scarier. So I think startup is maybe going to be for the next one as well, because I will run the next one for sure. Would you consider tweaking the decks you brought, or coming up with something completely different if you were to play in another one?
It would be interesting to try a few. I've actually tried to build 2 corps and 2 runners, but I think the issue in not having an idea is it's harder to tweak as well, I think. Because, for instance, in my corp deck, I went for 39 cards.
Yeah.
And hard to steal because the runner does not have enough money agendas, the below notes, and having Manigarms, Skunkworks, and even a Ganked. But I also expected some virus or annoying chips and virtual cards, so I put in Escape Net, for instance. Could be utterly useless. But, well, it's hard to make a point, but it's so hard to what to expect. And if you try to be prepared for everything, it's virtually impossible. So I try to focus on your own strength. That was my take. I think we both had some interesting thoughts on what are good cards, given from the cards we saw from each other. So
yeah, that's really interesting to see where the decks overlap. What breakers people choose, what ice people choose.
Even if you can choose anything, I'll let you finish. Sorry.
So for the original question, I would probably change my corp deck. I would probably tweak it. It's at only the 34 cards. It's just so lean. I don't have any real tricks, so I would add some tricks. Definitely some upgrades to protect my server better. I did have 2 seamless launches in my hand, and I was just waiting for agendas to show up. But of course, by that time, by that time, Neo just had way too much money to do anything about it. So I would probably just make it a bigger deck, sort of go with the same idea but a bigger deck. With my runner, again, I would probably just do the same thing, but maybe a fatter deck, so I can go 2 times breakers, and maybe some I don't know, my economy was decent, except for the one time I couldn't afford the Bologna
Yeah.
off of R&D.
True.
So
That was
other than that,
true.
it was alright. Yeah.
You had the overclock at the right time. Just had few credits. You only missed on a few credits, so that was real close.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first game was very close. The second one was a bit unfortunate for the Corp side, but
Yeah.
I had the feeling that you were both playing like did it feel skewed in one way or another? Not really, right? I mean, it felt like a normal game of Netrunner with just different cards happening that you may have not have been expecting. Like, for example, seeing the escape net, I was like, ooh, what is this doing here?
Yeah. That was
Yeah,
my expectation.
Yeah, it definitely did feel like just a normal startup game, except for the IDs. Like I said, it just the wildness of the pool that you face, which I think made it very interesting. Yeah, it didn't feel overbalanced. Ripping 3 agendas off the top of R&D obviously wasn't good, but that's just luck. That's not really anything to do with.
That's good on Netrunner, just telling you, okay, don't play the lottery, or do play the lottery if you're the Corp, because you just you're getting rid of all your bad luck right now. Yeah. So one other question I had, because both of you went for NBN as the Corp agendas, and I was like, oh, okay, there's something in here. Would you say that in startup NBN, if you could choose from any, of course, Corps, without the abilities of the Corps, so for example, playing the Syndicate, would you say that the NBN agendas are the best, given Bologna and, well, I don't know. I mean, Remastered Edition is as well a very strong card for fast advance, for example, if you get it to fire with seamless launches, for example. Or is it more like was it more like your personal choice because you, for example, like to play NBN outside? I mean, well, in startup or standard.
No. In my case, I don't play a lot of NBN. I just thought this was an interesting strategy. As I said, making sure they're hard to steal because of the cards and the agenda themselves in case of a Bologna.
Yeah.
So that helped, because you don't have an ID. I also had an idea for a putative deck, of course, but that's harder without making money with your ID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think about it.
I had been playing NBN previously. In Yusengrin's tournament, I played a GameNet deck. So I was more familiar with those agendas, but when I came to build this deck, I really liked the idea of Remastered Edition and Seamless Launch to try to fast advance out some stuff. I actually did not put Bolognas in my deck. I went basically all Project Beals and Remastered Edition, just hoping that I could either get a bunch of Remastered Editions out there with my Seamless Launches, and then hopefully score one big Project Beal at the end to seal it, was my game plan. I don't know if it was a good game plan, but
it totally makes sense. In my opinion, it's just, it was a weird game.
Yeah.
Okay, and based on one thing about the runner side, because I've been thinking about, okay, so accessing servers and whatnot, breaking ice and whatnot, you can definitely put a very different mix of ice just to surprise the runner. But on the breaker side, would you just say it's okay, you just drop in Buckhalter, Corroder, and Gordian Blade and you call it a day because there's no other better option here? Or would you say, hey, you could actually go very fast, very aggro with a mix of Botulus and Boomerang and kind of non-icebreaker cards that make it much easier and cheaper for you to get in, as long as you kind of control the situation? What I'm trying to ask here is, go on.
Corroder, Gordian Blade, and Chisel, Botulus, Boomerang. So.
So a lot of the good stuff.
Yeah. If you have those options, I expected everyone to go for that. I don't know for sure, but I think you also had one of those 3 breakers?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I had those 3 exact breakers, Gordian Blade, Bugalter, and Corroder.
Corroder, yeah.
Okay, this was the thing I had a bit of trouble with figuring out, because I am not nearly skilled enough in figuring out what would be a good card pool, like a custom card pool. So it's easier just for me to say, hey, we're going to use this format So, for example, startup being a bit smaller made it a bit easier, I guess, or less intimidating. But I'm wondering, maybe it's just about saying you can, like, I don't know, make a list of 20 different icebreakers, 20 different resources, 20 different events, and so on, and just say, okay, you can build whatever you want from these, and you're going to play, ability-less IDs, or IDs without abilities. That's what I wanted to say in plain English. And I don't know, I kind of feel like startup is a good starting point of things for both voicing your opinion about it and just saying that, yeah, that doesn't seem that it's either solved or too restrictive. I'm curious if Simply the Onion in the chat will also agree to this, but yeah, we have a comment saying Standard has a lot more interesting builds for this type of tournament. With Startup, I feel like the pool is pretty limited in different strategies. Yeah, the strategies probably, the card choices might be pretty obvious for some things, but I assume same way Startup is a good extension to the fundamentals of Netrunner that you get from Gateway. It's kind of just dropping more onto you and saying, hey, look at all the other things you can do, or you can do the same thing in 3 different ways, and whatnot. I assume trying again with the same format and just saying, yeah, let's do it again. Startup, maybe adding a few cards, but I don't know what I would add. Maybe I should just keep asking people, what should I add there? Could be a good idea for the one that's going to happen next month, because there's going to be one next month for sure. I don't know, having you both here, do you have any hot takes or ideas or tweaks or suggestions or anything about this type of event, given the card pool or the format or what have you?
I really enjoyed this, even though we only got to play the one match or the two games. I really enjoyed it. I think there is enough variety in Startup, and maybe this is only because I'm relatively new to the game. Mm-hmm. I think there's enough variety to explore different things, especially going more cards. Like I think going minimum was sort of my mistake in this. That I could have tried other weirder, wackier combos of things if I decided to go with bigger decks. And in that case, I think there is enough to explore, at least for a while, in Startup.
Yeah, I would tend to agree, actually. I think the plus and the minus of the format is the same, in my opinion, being you can go and do anything, but you also don't know what the other people are going to do.
Yeah.
If you do that in Standard, I think it's too hard to build a lot of decks and test them. That was our problem as well. We didn't actually test our decks beforehand because, well,
yeah,
that's not easy.
I was mentioning this, in the commentaries, like, how do you test for this? You just you have to find the people who are gonna play it.
Yeah. So that's not too easy. I love deck building anyway, but I think it will be too daunting for a lot of people to build this in Standard. I would agree with that statement, earlier statement. And I think there's enough variety within Startup, at least, to try and get this thing going. Because I also enjoyed it, and I think it's interesting enough to try it out.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I was trying to figure out if I can get some price support for this sorted or made, and I'm like, if this is all about the Syndicate and the Catalyst, maybe I'll figure something out in that respect, but I still have to talk to the powers that be at Nisei to figure out if I could use maybe some card art or something for something cool. We'll see. No spoilers, but I mean, definitely there is potential. We have Simply the Onion in the chat saying, how about making this something like Reverse Lockdown? People get to vote which cards to bring in. Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that'd be
so that would be cool. Yeah, I guess that could be an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's... Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, like you were saying, I think there are going to be, there are the best breakers in the format, there are the best ice in the format kind of thing. So really the variety is going to come in the fringes around that stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe bringing in just other options, so there's sort of 2 good choices for best of. Might be good.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, if you try to judge the breakers, there's gonna be like a handful of the ones you would play, and then the rest that might potentially be used unless, well, if you go for a certain strategy, if you want to do certain things and surprise your opponent. But yeah, I mean, the good stuff is always there, and everybody knows what it is. So
yeah, the Culter, Corroder, and Gordian Blade are just too cost efficient to not use them as the main breakers, I think, within the format.
Yeah, but I guess that I like the idea of adding some cards. I just don't know. Should it be public, or should it be more like, okay, we're gonna play startup with these rules and you know, with the infinite influence and so on, and you can bring one card for the runner side from outside of this and one card for the corp side from outside of this, still following the rules. That could be
interesting as well.
Yeah.
Or up to 3.
That sort of gives you that gives you a cornerstone to build around. Like if you bring something wacky that you want to combo with.
Yeah.
Of course, if everybody, I don't know, inserts what's it called again? The green breaker that breaks anything. I'm gonna look it up.
Wait, is it an air breaker? We could have a which one?
If everyone brings Engolo, it's it kind of misses the points.
You can bring anything, but not Engolo.
Well, that's the difficulty, I think, because I think it's a good idea, but not sure how you can prevent something like that.
Maybe it's about saying, so people can bring whatever decks they want, and then I will ask people if people are signing up to register and give me the name, like have a special part where they add the extra cards that they're going to use up to a certain limit. Of course, that makes sense. And then I'm going to publish the list of other cards that are going to appear, and then people can still deck build, I guess, with this. But I don't know. Like I don't know how to do
this. Then you get another iteration of building, because
I don't know. I mean, or maybe first people just vote on the card, or vote. Like people just propose cards. I publish the whole list, and then people can build whatever they want. Maybe like this. Okay. Oh, and simply, of course, with the big question: bring in a card from Standard or from Eternal. I think Eternal is something I'm going to be going around in big circles until there is a official Nisei Eternal remodeling, reboot, whatever announcement made, because I think it's gonna be cool. I've heard some things about it. I think people who would like to play Eternal are probably going to be more interested in it, and who love deck building are going to be more interested in it than Eternal itself right now, which is just way too intimidating and to get your head around.
I think it would be too broken.
Yeah, it's broken is one thing,
even
and then
one
just
card.
Yeah. So I think simply asking, how about stuff like Apocalypse, Mining Accident, Audacity, Engolo not being the worst thing you can import. Well, I mean, this is the thing. I think thanks to your input on the chat and in here and in the studio, I think it's a cool idea to have people just say, hey, okay, I want to play in this event, and I will build the decks, and I want to bring this and that card, one for the run, one for the corp, and that's what I'm going to do. And then have people drop in other things, and then publish this on ABR, and then say, okay, from now you have 1 week to build your decks. This is the card pool, which is startup plus those cards. Good luck. And then we meet and we play. That could be fun. Yeah. I mean, this is what I love about this game. Oh, go on.
You want to use this one broken card, but you're letting everybody use this one broken card if they end up doing it. So,
exactly. Yeah. I mean, I like experimenting with formats, and I'm not a great deck builder, but I love to mess with people's ideas of what can be done with this game. So that's what I like to do. Okay, cool. Anything else before we're gonna be slowly heading towards me babbling on my own about other things?
Well, I would like to thank you for at least trying this.
Yeah, I mean, always a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for arranging this.
Huge thanks to both of you for showing up, especially to you, Kibosh, for being fairly fresh. How long have you been playing, if you don't mind me asking?
Since March, basically. I played a couple times before that, but with the release of the new Nisei cards, I really went in deep.
That's really cool. I mean, thank you so much for joining the game, and I hope you're enjoying all of it that's that's available out there, because there's the community all over the place and whatnot. Great.
Yeah, the Green Level Clearance Discord's been just amazing as a community for answering questions or getting games going, things like that. So
Great. I mean, this is really, really cool. Super happy to have you on board then. And yeah, since March, that's a good place to start. Okay, well, I hope to see you, if not at my next event, at any other events, because there's going to be quite a few happening. Oh, we have Rajats in the chat, a new player as well. Okay. Someone have the link for the GLC. Oh, yeah. Wait, does this actually work? I used to have... Yeah, there we go. My bot still works. So Rajats in the chat. You should get the link to join through Discord. I hope it works. If it doesn't, let me know in the chat. I'm gonna hook you up. It's probably the best place to just get started, because whatever level of the game you're interested in, you're gonna find people there interested in playing and doing other things. It worked perfect. Okay, cool. So, dear folks, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate you taking the time and, well, having the guts and the courage to just say, hey, I'm gonna build something and we'll see how it works. It was really fun games to watch. The second one, bad luck. But this was kind of normal Netrunner stuff happening. Like, I'm pretty sure we've all survived this on both sides, where like we both experienced this. I do remember winning games with drawing 6 agenda points in one turn and as the runner and just saying, oh, well, I'm sorry, I just steal all your stuff. And losing a lot of agenda points as the corp also happened to me. Boo! But it is what it is. Yeah. It's the luck of the draw.
Exactly, yeah.
Won and lost games for in the first turn, hitting 3 snares or letting someone hit snares.
Oh, I mean,
so it's in the game.
Yeah,
it was just unlucky.
Exactly. We should just have a tournament where, well, the starting hand is just snares. the snare tournament. The corp only has agendas and snares.
Need the money to pay for them.
Exactly. You can put econ snares and agendas. That's the only thing you can. That'll be quite an interesting thing for the runner to beat. But okay, thank you so much once more, and finally for being here. I'm going to be disconnecting from the audio and I'm just going to be babbling on the stream for a few more minutes about other things as well. But I do hope to see you both in July, when I will organize a second edition of this, because thanks to your input, thanks to the kind of brainstorm on stream, I think there's something brewing here and I really do like what I see.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Hopefully I'll be in the next one.
Okay, have a good day, morning, evening, whatever you're gonna have. I'm hopping out of the audio and hopping back into the chat. So yeah, Rajats, welcome to the game. Great to have you. And what else can I say? So this was the first edition of, actually it was kind of a 1.5 edition of the Catalyst versus the Syndicate. But I think this could work, thanks to everybody's input and the idea of, basically a bunch of different ideas. How to tweak this a bit. I think the next one, I'm going to be scheduling it later today, just to say, hey, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to have a form up for it so people can just pre-register and give me the cards. And then there's going to be a cutoff date on this. So let's say a week before the event, I'm going to stop registration. And then I'm going to publish the list of cards that people want to add to the format. And this is the funny part, because the more people, the bigger potentially the card pool, but I will actually not deal with doubles, I think, So if 2 people, for example, say, hey, I want to bring in N'Golo, then I'm just going to say, okay, you can have N'Golo, but that will not mean that I'm going to ask one of the people, like, hey, what else would you like to bring because other people chose N'Golo? No, this is going to be kind of a popularity measurement test in a way for certain cards. But yeah, this is already fun. I'm already getting my TO senses tingling. And speaking of me being a TO and doing stuff, of course, I mean, I have to do this, right? If I don't do this, who am I, right? So, dear folks, tomorrow we have the one and only, or actually not the one and only, there's more tournaments, of course, happening. But we have lockdown number 15, the Living Lockdowns. If you know the reference here, that means you probably watch James Bond movies as well at some point. And this one had a brilliant song by a-ha, which is called The Living Daylights. So yeah, basically listen to that song. It's called The Living Daylights, with a-ha and Morten Harket, the 80s, 90s and what have you. Vocal hero from Norway, grim and frostbitten and not in a metal band. How can you live in Norway and not be in a black metal band? Well, I guess you have to be in a-ha. Well, anyway, a-ha aside, hey there, Dunch, great to see you. This aside, welcome to the lockdown number 15, the Living Lockdowns. This is still the second season. There are a few things slowly changing, because guess what? I mean, the Nisei ban hammer happened, and the standard ban list 2106 just bam deleted some cards. Some people say that the corps have been unjustly, punished, and now the runners have an advantage. And I'm curious to see that happening tomorrow in a tournament where everybody's involved and invited, of course, to participate. Everybody's involved in a way that the people who participate get to tweak the meta a bit for the next one. And the people who participate and place in the top 4 get to tweak the meta for the next one a lot. Everybody's welcome to join. The card pool is standard. The ban list is the most recent one. What it looks like, there is a form to register. I should maybe be opening this form, but I'm just gonna walk you through it a bit later. There's a deck checker. I'm gonna walk you through it later as well. If you're wondering what the part where the tournament starts local time means, is basically it's 3 o'clock my local time, more or less, of course, because things can change. My local time is Central European time plus 2 hours, I guess, or is it GMT plus 2? I don't even remember. But basically, I'm currently in Spain, so basically the Spanish time zones, or the time zone in Spain, because that's a single time zone country, transferred into whatever you want. There's a link here to help you with figuring your time out, of course. What do you have to do? Just basically you have to have a Jinteki.net account and be on Discord, most likely, because all of the managing of the tournament is going to happen on Discord. So if you don't have a Discord account yet, do get a Discord account. It's free. You can join the lockdown channel on the Nisei event hub server. We're going to be playing 4 Swiss rounds, or 4 rounds of Swiss, 65 minutes maximum each. There will be a break before the top cut, depending on who is in the top cut and how they feel about this. Then there will be a top 4 cut with a double elimination bunch of games. And then there's going to be a final stream chat, hopefully, if I'm not too underpowered and whatnot. How does this work in general? You get up to 10 points of IDs. There are some special extra rules here called Maximum Lockdown versus 2.1. which might be going away in the 3rd season, or maybe even in the next edition. Just maybe there's going to be something else tweaked to make it more fun and less intimidating for people to build their decks. But for now, don't worry about these. Basically, you just have to make sure that you don't use any of the banned corp cards. So this is the ban list plus all these cards you see here on the screen. So there won't be any Anotic Voids or Bellonas or Border Controls and so on and so forth on the corp side. This has been chosen by the people playing in the previous edition. And these cards are basically banned for this event. You cannot play a copy of them. If you have by any chance or by mistake, those cards in your deck, you will be given a game loss, and you can change your deck to make it legal and then keep playing, because it's a casual tournament. But it's fairly easy to avoid bringing banned cards. I'm going to show you a link in a second. And then the corps and both the runners as well, they have their own banned list, which you can see if you scroll down this page. But basically, corps cost you points, and the sum of the points you can bring is 10 in general. So your corp ID cost plus your runner ID cost is 10 maximum. So if you play as a group, for example, which is a really cool corp, you can only play a 0-cost runner, which is, and I'm going to scroll all the way down to the runner side, you can play Apex, Khan, or Nero Severin. So generally, your pick of the corp or your pick of the runner is going to tip the scales towards choosing the other side as well. You can go, for example, for 2 5-pointers, right? And go for 10. Or be ambitious and play some really underdoggy, I would say, corps and runners for fewer points. Because what's the point of these points? The fewer points you have, the better your tiebreaker is. And this is the primary tiebreaker. This is the first tiebreaker we're going to look at. So if you're on the same points as somebody else, but you have fewer ID points used to choose your IDs, then you're actually going to place higher than that other person. And that could be very, very crucial in some points. We have seen in previous lockdown editions people getting into the top 4 just because they had a slightly cheaper corpse and they managed to get enough points. So yeah, this is a bit of a challenge maybe, but honestly, just choose the ones you like, and if they have the right points, great, and if they don't, just choose something you would like to test, because this is a casual tournament, it's all for fun. By the way, the runner cards that are banned, also quite sweet. Apocalypse, Aumakua, Botulus, Bookhalter, and so on and so forth. Look at this, I mean, Bookhalter, Paperclip, and where is it? We missing? Oh yeah, we're missing a code gate breaker here. Are people gonna go full Engolo, what's his name? Because it's not actually banned. You know, that virus card? Pelangi. I don't see Pelangi here on the ban list, so... Engolo Pelangi sounds strong. I wonder if people are gonna bring this tomorrow. But anyway, people in the chat in the meantime talking. Can't decide whether to bring an Arnold or a Crim. Tell me which should I bring. Throw a dice. Yeah, absolutely. Throwing a die always helps. Dunge saying I cannot get to minus points. You can play a 0 and a -1 corp. We have a -1 corp. The forever sad corp that runs on currents that are no longer legal anywhere. Simply the Onion has a very interesting point here. Fulfilling the extra challenges to take a better corp. Yeah, we've been chatting about it on the side, and you were there, I think. So there might be some tweaks about this, but I don't know. Maybe we're gonna do it this way. I don't know. We'll see. Basically, this is season 2, the middle of season 2. There might be, for lockdown 16 to 19, there might be some tweaks in the way lockdown works. Just minor tweaks. We'll see how that influences things. But maybe nothing big. And then lockdown 20 will be another season end. It's going to be a special event, which probably is going to be very custom. It's going to be made mostly by me, as opposed to people actually from the top 4 voting on things for the next one. I'm just going to go, okay, lockdown 20, special rules. And then the third season is probably going to have some interesting changes to the way the format is balanced. But yeah, that is on tomorrow. And then another thing, and I should totally click through my silly profile because this is the fastest way. I'm just going to remind you folks that I'm also organizing something which is going to happen in a month, more or less in a month. And this is to all the aficionados of getting a perfect mulligan. Basically, you play standard, and at the beginning of your game, and thanks to Simply the Onion for testing it out so quickly. I was just chatting about it, and he was already testing. But anyway, the perfect mulligan is all about playing a standard deck with a standard ban list, standard cards, standard everything. And then at the beginning of your game, you can make your perfect hand. You just open up your deck, you choose the 5 cards you want to start with, you put all the other cards back in the deck on jinteki.net. That is possible. You shuffle the deck and then you start a game. And it's all fun. So yeah, that's going to be the perfect mulligan coming your way in July. And there's also going to be the Catalyst versus Syndicate coming back with a different, or with a slightly expanded set of cards, I guess. Yeah, I really loved the ideas I had today from all of you folks, so I really do appreciate your input. This definitely makes me think about organizing more stuff online. Speaking of which, online versus online, yeah, there should be some announcements coming from the Nisei side as well at some point soon. Please be patient. We're all still dealing with a bunch of different things, basically with how insanely, or I shouldn't say insanely, how wildly popular System Gateway proved to be, how a lot of people either came back or started the game up, which is super great. I mean, Kibosh was mentioning green level clearance, Rajats just joined green level clearance, and this is kind of the portal of the community to get into the game as such. And it's just so great. So, you know, making sure that we, as Nisei, meet the expectations of this new group of people, the expanding family of Netrunner players, is kind of a big deal when you have a global pandemic, when you have a lot of uncertainty, and when you have a lot of different things. So hopefully soon you're going to get some updates about the season, the competitive season, the Nationals, Continentals, and what have you, the Worlds for 2021, because that's going to be the biggie. I mean, you know, we've had Limes win the last year one. We had, of course, the ever scary and intimidating, but absolutely lovely, but still a monster of a player, Pinzel, win the first one in 2019 that we had in Rotterdam. That was a great event. I have tears of nostalgia coming into my eyes. It was so much fun to be there with you all, folks. But anyway, 2021 shouldn't be any less fun. wherever it happens, however it happens. So looking forward to this being announced and being a part of it some way. That said, I should stop babbling. I should invite you all one more time for Lockdown 15 tomorrow, more or less the same time as I tuned in today, maybe a bit earlier. And I will wish you a great Saturday or Sunday, depending on where you are, and talk to you soon. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for making organizing things fun, because I really do like organizing things for you. And I believe with this, I should be calling it a day, or calling it a stream. Should I call it a stream? I don't know. Maybe, perhaps. Yeah, let's do this. Thank you so much for being here, and talk to you soon.